Now, now let's talk about how the menstrual cycle works. Your menstrual cycle, how it works. Now, you know the basic related when you talk about menstrual cycle in a woman, a married woman for that matter, it begins with the first day of the bleeding. Often lasts from 3 to 7 days. It lasts from 3 to 7 days. That is the basic. The basic is 5. Why some people 7 days? Okay. Now, at that point, it may vary from cycle to cycle. It depends on individual. Or some menstrual periods are painful. Some people own are very painful. So the days varies. Okay. Now, and it's not the same for all women. That's what we just said. Now, 5 days of bleeding appears to be average. I said it before. Averagely, 5 days. Okay. Now the bleeding will occurs when the lining. That's what causes bleeding. So it's not a sickness as some people say. It's only that some women's own are very painful. So, what causes bleeding? It's because when the bleeding occurs when the lining of the uterus is spread, that's shared. Okay, that's what makes the bleeding. So it's not abnormal to bleed as a woman when you are of age to have your menstrual period. So this shedding occurs each month in normally fertile women, if you are fertile. And of course, every normal women are fertile. So provided they have not in the course of the preceding cycle become pregnant. You know what that means? Which means the bleeding is a normal thing, except where you are on a crossfire with your husband. He's shot and you become pregnant. That's where the bleeding will be interrupted. Otherwise, it is normal. Okay. Now, once the period is over, a structure called follicle. You understand? A follicle, like it's a structure, occur. Okay, in the ovary. Then in the ovary begins to repair. Okay, now which means preparing for the release of the egg that is contained within it. You understand the grammar now? So when that happens, the follicle in the ovary now begins to repair, preparing for the release of the egg that is contained in it, which means it's getting itself prepared for work. All these events are under the control of hormones of the body, okay, which are turned on and off at appropriate times by the hypothalamus and pituitary glands of the brain. Of course, these are medical terms that a doctor will have to analyze and explain much about that. Okay. Once the follicle begins repairing, it releases a hormone of its own testosterone. You get the point now? It is the estrogen, in fact, which helps turn the bleeding off and promotes healing of the uterine lining. Okay. Estrogen helps get the womb ready for another attempt of pregnancy. It also makes the cervical secretion more hospitable to sperm to swallow to work as ovulation approaches. Okay, so that is all about this thing, all about how the menstrual cycle works in a woman. Okay, thank you very much. Keep coming.